2014 DC History Teacher of the Year winner, Ms. Barrie Moorman. Ms. Moorman, thank you for joining us. Ms. Moorman?
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me today. It's an honor to speak with you this evening. My name is Barrie Moorman, and I teach U.S. History and Sociology at E.L. Haynes High School. As an American Studies major exploring race, class, and gender in U.S. history in college, I was convinced that the most important way to create systemic change and interrupt institutionalized inequity is through education. I continue to teach because I believe that schools are a critical force in both shaping individuals' lives as well as our society, and that we either maintain the status quo or challenge it through our actions. I want to be a leader for equity, both in my school and in our society. As a history teacher, my first key belief that influences my practice is that history has shaped our present and that we can learn from the past in order to change the future. My most meaningful example of this is leading a week-long civil rights tour of the South, through which my students and I meet with civil rights activists and visit landmarks where young people took action to interrupt injustice. We connect the struggles of the past to the present, and students return to school inspired to create change. We take advantage of local resources like the African American Civil War Memorial and Museum to question who tells the stories of history and whose voices are left out of the dominant narrative, then unearth those stories to make sure that they are heard. My second key belief is that students need to see the relevance of what I teach to their lives and should be able to use what they are learning in school to understand their current context. In class, I strive to connect historical topics to current events, whether by framing a study of the history of colonization with a discussion of the Washington football team name, or holding a War on Poverty convention on its 50th anniversary to discuss its relevance today. This also includes bringing in current issues to the classroom. Students in DC are seeing rapid change occurring in our city and are questioning where they fit in. My senior sociology class explored gentrification and displacement by partnering with two local organizations, One DC and the Latin American Youth Center, to explore these topics and collect stories from residents and business owners, short-term and long-term, in different neighborhoods. This was an important opportunity for students to see their communities as classrooms and to connect history to the present, inspiring students to create change for the future. I also believe that relationships are key. My students have to have trust in me in order to take risks, to perform at high levels, and to push themselves out of their comfort zone. I've had the privilege of moving up with cohorts of students at two growing charter schools and know how powerful it can be to have multi-year relationships with both students and their families. I also think that relationships are important among colleagues. I feel fortunate to work with a team of exceptional educators that I trust, who I invite into my classroom constantly to ask for feedback when I'm struggling or to problem solve when I'm having a hard time meeting the needs of particular students. Being able to form alliances, especially with people who bring different perspectives and ideas, is critical for me to be able to evolve as a teacher. I think that the relevance and relationships are also the keys to increasing student achievement. I have seen students produce amazing work when they have an authentic audience, a real-world problem to tackle, and a genuine passion for what they are doing, and when I'm able to both support and challenge them to produce meaningful work. I think that the most significant impacts I can make in my students' lives are unlikely to all be recorded within 1 year, but are in the ways that they think about the world around them and their ability to take action in order to make our community a place where we all want to continue to live and to learn. Thank you again for having me this evening. It's really a pleasure to speak with you.
Now we will read into the record a ceremonial resolution honoring Barrie Moorman, the 2014 District of Columbia History Teacher of the Year winner, and Ms. Wilson-Phelan from Ward 1.
Ceremonial resolution honoring Barrie Moorman, 2014 District of Columbia History Teacher of the Year winner. Whereas every year an elementary or secondary school teacher who is furthering excellence in education is named the District of Columbia History Teacher of the Year and receives public recognition and an unrestricted financial reward of $2,000. Whereas the State Board of Education is proud to recognize Ms. Barrie Moorman, a founding member of the high school campus of E.L. Haynes Public Charter School, as the 2014 recipient of this prestigious award. Whereas Ms. Moorman encourages her students by taking them out of the classroom and into the community, including an annual week-long civil rights trip for her students, during which students visit civil rights landmarks, meet with social justice activists, and brainstorm action plans to interrupt injustice in their own communities. Whereas Ms. Moorman facilitates E.L. Haynes's Race and Equity in Education seminars, which require staff members to examine how they teach and lead as affected by race. Whereas Ms. Moorman was also recognized by Teaching Tolerance with their 2014 Award for Excellence in Teaching for her work to reduce prejudice and promote equity within the school community. Whereas the State Board of Education recognizes the extraordinary example set by Ms. Moorman of setting high expectations for all of her students to multiply their potential, which in turn leads to every one of her students working diligently to succeed. Be it resolved that on March 18th, 2015, the District of Columbia State Board of Education honors Barrie Moorman, the 2014 District of Columbia History Teacher of the Year recipient, and recognizes her commitment to excellence in education for the students of the District of Columbia. Congratulations.
I move that this ceremonial resolution be adopted. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And any abstentions? Congratulations, Ms. Moorman.